What makes you think that at the end of the day, because they say that is the right way, means it's going to work for everybody?
But they send you for another job. If you go through the right way, the policy
What about people that go in to study about 7-year courses that they don't even like just because they want to go to school? And people have spent their time doing things that they don't even like.
There's a thin line between office romance and sexual harassment.
It was affecting the business, and we had to cut him off.
They should cancel anything office romance.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Chineye Gift. You're welcome to Workplace Reality Podcast by Kenneth Consult International. And this is the month of love. We are sorry we didn't bring out the February edition on the Valentine's Day, but of course we are seeing the season of love. And we'll be talking about office romance and how it applies and how it affects the workplace, the pros and cons of office romance. My name is Gift and I'll be your host. And with me is Mr. Money, who is a chartered accountant. So please tell us about yourself and your general portfolio.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Gift. My name is Nam Baridakara Money. I'm a chartered accountant and also an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria.
Wow.
I work in a tax management consultancy firm here in Port Harcourt. And I'm glad to be here. And the topic is an interesting one because incidentally, I'm writing a book on office romance.
Yes. So I had a conversation with Mr. Moni some time ago, and we discussed about office romance and how it affects the workplace. And of course, what a good time to talk about it to our community. And with me is Miss Joseph.
Hi.
Let me say about you a little before I hand over to you. She's a business development manager. She's beautiful, of course. She has worked in the workspace for a while, and of course, has experienced a lot of incidents, or a lot of, she has come a lot of circumstance around office romance. Can you tell us more about yourself?
Hi, my name is Gift Joseph. I'm a business developer and I work at Kenneth Consult. So we are just here to brief and talk about the challenges facing office romance.
Okay. Our key discussion is on office romance. Now, what is office romance? Personally, I think office romance has to do with your relationship within the workspace. What I mean within the workspace, both with your colleagues, with your employer, and with stakeholders who are clients. So it's not just within your colleague alone. It extends both internal and external. Just anybody that relates to the workspace. It's not just because when we talk about office romance, everybody is always saying your colleagues, having a relationship with your colleague and all that. But it extends to, but that's my opinion though. That's why we're here to talk about it. So what do you think about that?
Okay, thank you so much. When you talk about a relationship with your co-workers, with others in the organization or the company, you have not actually defined what you're talking about, this relationship. Is it working relationship or what? But we are talking about office romance. So you're talking about a relationship with some other person, a colleague or a worker, also in the office space, then the issue of romance comes in.
Yeah.
But what is office romance, if we may ask? Office romance simply has to do with two workers or employees working in the same establishment or organization or company having romantic relationship. We know what romance is. And so once that has come in, then it becomes an office romance. And then office romance is also workplace romance, because when you hear of office romance, it is as if it is only in an office setting.
Yes.
No, it is also has to do with workplace. We have workplace romance. It could be on the factory floor, assembly hall. It could be anywhere that has a work setting, not necessarily in an office. So that is workplace romance, which we say is broader. And of course, when it becomes workplace affairs, then it means that this office romantic relationship is between a married woman and a married man, or a married man with a single other employee that is of opposite sex. So we are talking about office romance, workplace romance, and of course, office or workplace affairs that has to do with extramarital affairs. So
Yeah.
that is the brief about office romance and what it encompasses.
Can you just tell us what you think of office romance?
So I want to say that office romance just have to do with any romantic relationship that requires both partner being romantic. Now, it doesn't have to just be with your opposite sex alone. Even people at the same sex still happens to be in a sort of office romance.
Wow.
So all I'll just say is when you're involved in a romantic relationship in any workspace is a office romance.
That's beautiful.
Okay, but what if in a workspace where I've had a personal encounter in my years of there was an office I worked in some years back, and something happened. Of course, I was a business developer. My fellow business developer, of course, was having personal relationship with our clients, client or would I say prospects, and it was affecting the job because I was a team lead. I was the sales team lead. This romance was not within the colleagues. It was not within our colleague. He was going on dates with clients who are clients of the company, who are part of the company, stakeholders. She was going on dates with clients, clients, and it got so bad that one of the dates she went to, because this client, you don't really know them personal, and it almost cost her life. She was almost kidnapped. In fact, I had to talk to the management as the sales team lead that if you're going for business transaction, business meeting, it has to be within the working hour and someone has to accompany you. If you go on your own and anything happens to you, the company will not be held liable to it. We have to implement it as one of our policy. This buttress my point where I say office romance might not just be internally. And another point I want to say before I give it to you to say is couples who are working in the same workspace, can we still call that office romance? These are legally married couple.
Okay, no, we cannot actually say that that is an office romance per se because it is always between two persons that do not have any marriage relationship.
Okay.
But then when it has to do with couples working in the same office or office space or so, companies have policies
Exactly.
that say, okay, are both of you married? One of you should resign. So that you do not, there will be no conflict of interest or you do not connive to do
Yes, so I
something
get in there.
or so. So that is, if they are married for that time, they are not supposed to display what they call PDA.
Public display of affection. Yeah.
So, but sometimes certain couples could forget that they are in an office space. And so in such a situation, companies bring in policies that, both of you are married, one should step out.
Wow. But how common is it in a workspace? How common is office romance? How common is office romance in a workspace?
Okay, before I respond to that, I want to say that office romance definition has to do strictly with those working under the same environment.
Okay. If it's stakeholders like clients, it's not an
it's not an office romance.
Okay.
But the companies discourage that.
Okay.
Because it will affect it can even lead to you as giving out of company information to clients or maneuvering things
trade secrets
in favor of clients just to get some favor. So it's strictly between two persons working in the same organizations as employees in whatever capacities. Now, but with respect to how prevalent is office romance, well, some research that has been looked at says that at least between 25 to 75% of employees have experienced office romance at least once.
Have you experienced office romance? We're in a workplace reality podcast, so we have to be as realistic as we can be. So have you experienced it?
So personally, I have not experienced it because I think I am against office romance.
Wow.
And you said something earlier that if it's between a married couple, that is not office romance. Well, I just want to quickly say something. In my previous definition, I made mention that office romance has to be with two people who are in a romantic relationship. So I don't think it really matters if you're a husband and wife. When once the relationship is romantic, that is a romance. So it doesn't have to be with just couples. You being colleague alone. As far as you're married and it's office romance.
I agree with
That,
you
that okay.
because in such settings there could be some kind of vibes between the two, so that they even forget that they are there. But just as I said too, companies are coming up with policies to ensure that such do not
Is
happen. Is
managed
managed, or at least they transfer you if it's a bigger company to
organization.
another division. But strictly, just because of the purposes of a conflict of interest or two persons conniving,
Yes.
there are policies
Yes.
respecting such a relationship in
In
an
a
organization.
workspace. So let's talk about the pros and cons of office romance, the advantages and disadvantages. In fact, this is why. In fact, this is the most important of our discussion today, because a lot of employees need to understand that, and of course, a lot of employers need to understand the pros and cons of office romance. But before we go ahead, there's something that just came into my mind. Now, a lot of employers of labor, which are business owners, we're in a realistic environment. This is workplace realistic. We have to be realistic as possible. Now, let me say this. A lot of business owners or bosses, in quotes, invite their girlfriends to the office, invite their wives to the office, and not for business meetings. These girlfriends or partners are not part of the board of the company. But you invite your girlfriends or your wife, and you're spending hours that has nothing to do with the business. Sometimes your secretary can just walk into your office, or your secretary can just walk out. Your employers can just walk in and see you and this person, your partner, in a very
In a compromising-
compromising situation. Can we still call that office romance? And if no, what are the pros and cons? What are the advantage and disadvantage of office romance?
Okay, now with respect to the scenario you just painted, with respect to a boss or a director bringing in his girlfriend or something like that to your office and using office hours for things that are not related to the company, um, I think that companies have rules with respect to the time you are given to attend to your work, in whatever capacity you are.
Does the rule covers the
Yeah,
business owner?
for any rule to thrive in an organization,
Yes.
the management or the,
Top-level
the, the,
management.
the directors must show example.
Exactly.
Because if you do not do that, it's going to cause problems. Okay, let me share with you one experience. You might have read of Stephen R. Covey, the
Yeah.
writers of, I think, Seven Habits of Successful
Yes.
Businesses. There was a certain chairman who invited him to go on and see how he can resurrect the morale of his staff. The company was thriving fine previously, but all of a sudden morale went down, and no matter what he did to boost their morale or motivate them, nothing happened. So the man had to go around, digging around, and then the staff told him that that man was having a romantic relationship with the staff.
Wow.
And so they were demoralized, whatever. When somebody is having an affair with the owner of the company, the person will raise shoulders also.
Yes. Yes.
So that was what happened. And so what was the solution? When the man now went, the Covey went back to the man and said, "This is the problem. You are the problem. So what do? Sack the employee, go to your wife to confess your sins." Is that possible? Is that easy? But that was the thing he had to do. So what I'm saying is this: for you to ensure that your company thrives, you must show example. Otherwise, you turn the situation into a toxic and unhealthy working situation. Okay, what will you do as a boss if you walk into an office and you see an employee or two employees or with another person making out in the office? Can you say anything? No. So there must be rules that governs this. Otherwise, once you start misbehaving, then certain things will start eating up your company. And actually, many companies are falling
Yes.
due to office romance or
Yes.
unhealthy practices of the owners without their knowing why, because they wouldn't give you six solutions.
So what are the pros and cons? What are the disadvantages? Since you say you're against gifts, since you say you're against office romance, you don't Like, it's a no policy for you. Personal opinion though. So what do you think are the pros and cons, the disadvantages of having office romance?
Okay, personally, just like she said, I am really against office romance because, example, favorism and bias. Before you know, your supervisor, let's assume your supervisor is in an office romance, then you start seeing him just trying because he's trying to please his partner, or should I say his romantic partner. You start favoring her or him more, and before you know, you start affecting the other employee. Like, you get sad you get sad that you're putting so much energy and your supervisor is just favoring one person just because of the romance involved there. So I just feel those things should not be something we should consider in a workplace.
But people can actually find true love in the workspace.
Okay,
Don't
yeah.
you don't you believe in such situation, like you might work in a space, especially in a large organization, whether large or small organization, you can just meet someone, it's love at first sight, or maybe the way the person is enthusiasm and confidence, sense of humor, and as a guy you're already attracted.
Yeah,
Do
really.
you have to kill the affection because you don't want to office romance? You don't want
Yes,
to.
really. Many people have forgotten their spouses through office romance.
Exactly.
And in any circumstance, one could even come across his or her own love, so to say. So now, but we have to note that actually there are people who have forgotten this. Okay, we have this classic case of Obama and
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
They both work in a law firm, and it was Mitchell that was even guiding Obama until Obama got interested in her, and she was even dodging, even wanting to introduce
In a
her in his
workspace.
workspace. But they became eventually married, became the first or second,
Black president of
of
America.
America. We also have to note that Bill Gates met his wife Melinda through office romance, and we also note that it was office romance that led to their divorce. You can see how
That was a very good example, honestly.
you can see how two-edged it could be because Gates also dated one of his the Microsoft employees, and they are broken today.
Allegedly.
It's confessed.
Yes,
It's
yes,
confessed.
yes.
So now, so we are saying that when they talk about the pros, that is the prospects or the advantages of office romance, when I look at them as supposed advantages. For example, somebody will say that, oh, because you have a romantic relationship with a fellow staff in the office, that you look forward to going to the office on a Monday morning, which ordinarily you wouldn't have wanted to after a hangover or so on Saturday or Sunday. And you go there. So it is like taking drugs to do something. It's like taking enhancement performance drug to do a sport. And of course, you know that many sporting federations are banning the use of things that all those enhancement, all those things. Okay, now what happens if um, the relationship goes south or hits the rock? We talk about a breakup, and then what will happen in the office space in that situation? And sometimes too, they say that it leads to performance, teamwork, and all those things. You know, if you have fallen in love, even if the person is not there in the office and you are on your
You'll
system,
be
you'll be
distracted.
distracted. You'll be even be daydreaming about
I'm
that your
telling
love.
you, I'm
Yeah,
telling
did all
you, there will be no focus on work.
say, hey, what is happening? Oh, you just say, okay, sorry. Okay, now but when both of you are there, you spend unnecessary time just employing kisses and all those things, and then you look for ways to bump into each other. Time is going. So, and then what about others who are looking at what is happening and are not happy? Okay, now what about if I'm dating you, and then another beautiful girl comes, and then I leave you and go for the that other beautiful one. Before you know, the situation will start turning toxic.
It will not become toxic,
Yes.
exactly.
So,
Anyway, sorry for cutting you in. I just wanted to pick a struggle. We have been talking and you're just trying to pick a struggle. Are you against it or you're with it?
okay. Well, I look at things objectively. I do not support office romance or that it should be allowed in a work environment or in an organization. This is based on the research I have made, and I've come across lots of the sad consequences that come from office romance. Yes, it may be euphoric, you may enjoy it, but it has really, really broken many homes. Okay, now it has effect on the employees themselves when the thing goes the other way. Then it has effects on families. Okay, now let me give you an example. A certain man with his daughter wanted to pay a surprising visit to, or a surprise visit to the wife and the mom of his daughter, who was working in a gym, as in works there in the Herald
Yeah.
Students. And so they not enter the office, and the wife or the mother of the girl was in a compromising situation or position with another staff. It was terrible. Just imagine a child, an innocent child, bumping into such a situation like that.
It will be a trauma for life.
Traumatic.
Like-
And then because she could not tell anybody, she went and told her classmate in school,
Wow.
who went and told her own mother, who went and said, "Madam, this is what your daughter told my daughter." And then, when people go on office romance, when they are coming, then they are doing it over time, even in a big organization, they say they dated this other one in this division or this other one. A time will come when this thing will come up. For example, there are many CEOs and directors that have got to lose their job because of office romance.
Personally,
Because they didn't disclose that they had dated so employees, so you don't disclosure of such information, conflict of interest.
but personally, I'm not against office romance. It might sound awful.
Okay.
I like to be as realistic as it is.
Mm.
And I feel like you can find love anyway. But it is the approach that matters. On Valentine's Day at our office, we did a very brief, not really a talk about, in fact, that was what sprung about this topic on Kenneth Concerts.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, we're having a pep talk with our team, and someone asked a question on this. I'm like, okay, why don't we share it to the public? Personally, as someone asked a question, asked one of the recruitment manager, like, if you see someone that you like in your team, are you going to ask the person out? We're discussing generally. And I replied, and my reply was, you can find love anywhere, but it is the approach that determines if your love towards that person is real. Let me say, for example, if you are attending a church, there are some people that have standard, they are strict, they can, they have sanctioned their mind that even if they see a very beautiful girl that fits their preference, they remove their mind. They are not asking that person, as long as that person is in that space that is above their boundaries. But let's say, for example, you attend a church that is a community. Everybody know each other, even if everybody doesn't know each other, but it's a church. And you happen to see a lady that you like. If you really know that you really like this lady and you have good intention, in the traditional way, you have to go to your pastor and say, Pastor, I like this girl. You have to make it, that's the way we were brought up. That's the way our mothers expected, and which is the right way. Before you even approach the girl, even if you approach the girl and the girl like, okay, if you really like me, let's take it. Let's go and meet our pastor. Let's go for counseling. But if you do not truly like that girl, you will not take it to your church leadership. It applies the same thing in a workspace. I've seen couples that work, I don't want to call the brand's name, a bank in a commercial bank. They fell in love, they were marketers, they fell in love, got married, and they approached the bank. What the bank did was to transfer them to another branch. They are not in the same branch, but they are working in the same branch. So I feel, yes, in the same bank. I feel personally, if you see someone that you like in a workspace and you really mean well for that person, approach the management or approach the department head of that person and make your intention known. That's what I think. I'm not against it.
Okay, yeah.
So let me come in. You were saying that you made a very meaningful statement in your own way. You said that you made example of the church. If you're in the
Yes.
church, the right way is to go meet your pastor and be like, hey, I'm interested and all that. What makes you think that at the end of the day, because they say that is the right way, means it's going to work for everybody? So let me come in again. Sorry. Let's talk about the workspace now. Because you meet the management of the place, what of the breakup consequences? Just at the end of the day, the two of them break up, things go sour. Just imagine, I'm taking myself as an example, and I'll come to work. Let's assume you're my colleague, and we are not in that office romance again. And I'll wake up in the morning, I'll be like, hey, I'm going to go and see that
Now, should
man.
I answer your
Would it
question?
even make me
Should I
happy
answer your
going to work?
question? Should I answer your question?
Yeah.
Personally, this is my opinion. I feel like every company has policies towards that. Just as the church has a policy towards that. If you go meet your pastor that you really like a girl, the church is okay, this is the procedure. This is how you're going to do it. And honestly speaking, if you don't like that person that much, you won't go through that procedure. If you the same way in the workspace, if you like someone, you go and meet the management. The management will tell you, okay, in our policy, since you've come openly, it's good that you did not do it behind us. You've come to us openly. This is our policy. Maybe the policy is that one of you must resign. Example. But because the way you've honored the management and you want to do it the right way, the MD or your boss can say, because you have come the right way, I can call another of my friends or refer you for another job.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand
Yes,
what I'm saying.
I get
If
you.
you go through the right way, the policies we guide you so that even if there's a breakup,
Okay,
you won't be
okay.
seeing that
Let me ask you
Okay,
a
you
question.
said sorry
Let
for
okay, let me ask you a
Okay.
question. Are you saying that office romances should be permitted in the office?
No, I'm not saying it should be permitted in the office. What
Are
I'm
you saying
saying,
it should not be permitted or allowed in the office?
okay, what I'm saying is that organizations should create policies to manage situation because office romance is inevitable in the workspace.
Okay, you said something earlier like nobody wants to go through the struggle, the whole process of if the person intention is not pure, nobody wants to go through the struggle and the process. And let me tell you, what about people that go in to study about 7 year courses that they don't even like just because they want to go to school? Don't you think that people have spent their time doing things that they don't even like just because they want to bear the name that they are in a relationship with that person or because they do that thing? People will go through different process. People will climb hills. People will climb mountains. People will even do more just to be in a relationship that will just give them name. So I don't think that the process is a big thing. Even with the process, people will do things they don't even like or value.
Okay.
Just
Okay, let me just come
for
in,
the
please.
money.
Okay.
Now, we are talking about the consequences of office romance. Before you tell a company or you tell people, oh, this thing is not good, we want to ban them, you have to now do some kind of trainings, do some kind of workshops. What are the effects of office romance?
Which are the pros and cons?
How do they affect people? Remember that there is a thin line between office romance and sexual harassment.
Exactly.
Two persons could have been in a good relationship, and then the other person say, I don't agree again, so to say. And the other person say, you will agree or we will die, I'm inside here. Then the other person say, oh, he's harassing me. Issues. Or there was a certain case between a married woman and a staff in Microsoft Nigeria, which also engulfed Microsoft International. This man had been harassing or asking for office romance with a married woman, and he has been complaining. No attention was given. The management did not do anything. So the woman sued the man, sued Microsoft Nigeria, sued Microsoft International. Microsoft International was saying that they didn't know about it. Since they are under you, how did you handle the situation? But now coming to what you were saying, we can say that love or interest in each other could come up in office in an
Exactly.
office
It's
setting.
inevitable.
It's inevitable. But you are trying to say no because of these consequences. So now what if it comes out? Remember that when we talk about office romance, there are those who go on the pro just to have such situations. What are the intents? Just to maybe have the pleasure. Maybe we have about 5 types of office romance. We have what we call between peers. We have manager, supervisor, or employer and employee. We also have extramarital affairs. We also have what we call fling. And then what is the purpose? Is it to take advantage of a vulnerable person, or is this for sex for favor, or is it that you want to go into a lasting relationship, which is the fifth one? In such a situation, these are about rules. Now, if you are sure that you want to, because the rule will be if two persons are, if you want to go into that such thing, one of you should resign. Now you ask yourself, remember that in ordinary dating, even outside this office setting, there is this risk of breakup or not working through.
Exactly. Just
So,
like Gift said.
what if it does not? So, as a person going into that, and you know the company policy that this is not allowed, will I be willing to resign from this job? Do I like this job so much?
You have to consider.
If I have to leave this job, is this thing going to happen? So okay, now if there's a breakup, how am I going to handle it? And such things. So you let the management know, and then so time you resign also, so that it can happen, and you have your better half from there is a different thing from somebody engaging in it freely because they say, oh, you can do that.
Okay, so what's the conclusion from your end, Gift? Is it that it should be cancelled entirely from the workspace? Like there should not even be a policy to manage it, because a lot of organizations create policy to manage it. Because we've had cases where even employers can sleep with integrate romantic relationship before they even employ their girlfriends and keep sleeping with them in the workspace. And other colleagues are aware. So even the employers are not left aside, because that's why I said it is not inevitable, because it affects both the employers and the colleagues.
Okay, there's what we call organizational culture.
Okay.
And there's what we call being favorable to office romance.
Okay.
So organizational culture and being favorable to office romance is one of the key factors that will negate or up against a company saying that I am going to bring about office policies on office romance to curtail it or eliminate it. For example, if a man who is the owner of the company is a womanizer and he runs after something and says, hey, come and remove or ban office romance in your company, he will not.
I've had an experience, before you come in. Kenneth Consult is a manpower supply and management company. We're also into business consultancy and workspace digitalization. A time about 2 years ago, there's a client we did our HR consultancy services for, and we kept doing the recruitment, and his preference were female. And because of this kind of business, FMCG is the owner of one of a 5-star restaurant in the city of Port Harcourt. And we handle these consultancy services from scratch. And we didn't think that area for assault or because of course it's a restaurant, female. But people kept, we're getting bad review because of that client. It was affecting the business, and we had to cut him off. We terminated his contract, and to date, even when he calls, to date, we don't do business with him. And to date, we did not even, I don't know if this is the right thing, but I feel it's a personal thing, because we didn't even tell him that this is the review we're getting about your business. But he was harassing every female that he employs. And he was harassing them. Till today, he's still having that issue. What I'm trying to say in essence is that this is something that, and I feel like it happens more from the part of the employer than within colleagues. Because colleagues can manage it, but employers feel like they are the sole owner of the business. Maybe in a business where there are no stakeholders, where the business is not public.
You know why the guy continues doing what he's doing?
Why?
It is because here in Nigeria, many people do not go to court or litigate. Otherwise, this is sexual harassment.
So how do we manage it?
So personally, like I said, I don't really agree that we should keep office romance. But just my feelings alone or my points alone cannot kill people joy. At the same time, I feel that each organization should make their own rules and observe policies and make what works for them. Okay? Now, in our organization, somebody can say, I am just employing somebody because he's a member of the Catholic Church and they keep to it. That is his belief. He believes that those things are going to work for him. And whatever he believes in works for you, right? So, personally, to me, I am against office romance. And here is my reason. When it comes to office romance, we'll now have things that comes to do with lack of boundaries. Example, just you're in the office, you don't even know your boundaries. You don't know you're crossing them. You don't know that this is professional. You just have to keep it strict that this is the whole professional thing. Then the breakup awkwardness, you're coming to work and you'll be like, how will I see this face this morning? I hate it. Believe me, there are days I wake up just because I don't like that my neighbor. I'll be like, why are you the first person I'm seeing this morning? Then talk about somebody you're in a romantic relationship with and it's no longer there. You want to come and see his face. Then me, I'm not going to quit my job for anybody. Let's say it becomes south, things went out of hand, and the company is like, I can only retain one person. I'm not quitting my job for anybody.
So what are your
So I
final
feel
words to employers, to companies? What are your final
my
words?
final words to employers, I just feel that they should cancel anything office romance. Outside their office, they could do whatever they want to do. It's nobody
It
business.
should be prohibited.
Yes, that is my
Like
final word.
that's your
Well, you use the word manage.
okay.
When you say manage, it is there. You are trying to contain it. When the effects of office romance comes, it is like water bursting from a dam.
Exactly. Yeah.
And some people say, okay, this is our policy, and ensure that you don't bring it to the office. Let it, you can do it outside. What happened outside will not remain outside, or when the thing is the rock.
And it might even affect the
It will
business.
come back to the even
Yes.
when a person legally married to his wife or her husband has issues at home, you will find out that she will come to work and be brooding. What is happening? That thing is affecting her. So at the point in time, they will come in back into the office. Okay, there was a case in a certain company I worked that two persons were dating each other, and because they had broken up due to certain things, exchange of information, documents. You go to this one, you go to the company was stifled, and the empty seemed at a loss as to what to do. So it is something that, and then for companies, they really need to know, bring in consultants. What are the situations? How do we handle this? Because it is not easy to craft policies. Because somebody say, "Oh, it's my privacy. Oh, it's my right." But who they were employed to come there to do what?
So companies should seek
To
the
work.
services of consultants.
And let me let you know, let me also let you know that even in UK now, they are curtailing it, eradicating it. I spoke with one of my friends in UK that I'm writing on office romance. That how is it over there? And he told me that it's being curtailed there. In fact, organizations are not allowing it. That periodically they give them training online that they discuss about issues of sexual harassment, office romance, and all such things. And then they write the tests online, and they are scored, and then they pass. So that, and then once you have done something online, it's documented.
Yes.
So that tomorrow you don't see a fellow staff and start try to do a PDA
It will always be in your brain.
and once it comes up, you are gone.
I think I will go with that. I think Nigerians should
Imbibe that.
yes, constant maybe quarterly trainings on workplace policies or I don't know. I'm trying to identify the name of the training or workplace performance.
No, you can say office romance.
Okay, office romance, general.
Office romance training,
Okay.
or however you put
Yeah,
it.
or they should bring in these topics on their quarterly trainings, and then in their, I think they should even create a KPI for this.
Okay, now do you know that they emphasize safety in offices?
Yes.
They also do training on anti-bribery and corruption.
Yes.
Okay, TQM, total quality management, all those things. But has anything been said about office romance? No.
No, I think they should invite it. Create a KPI and appraise your employees on this. Maybe a quarterly appraisers, or maybe I think quarterly appraisers will be every 3 months or every 4 months, so that they will be aware. Create pay talks.
Yes, we will say KPI, key performance index. We're not going to.
Okay.
That this person perform well in office romance.
Okay. Yes. It should be part of the
No,
appraisal.
it should. Then if you look
And
at
then
it,
there should be
any,
pep talks.
there should be something. Was there any incidents of maybe harassment or maybe advances
I
or
don't-
something like that?
Oh.
Then there should be a situation where there will be a medium of reporting.
Yes.
So person did so thing to me and all those things, and then it
Or
should be,
guidance and counseling.
yes, it should be quickly followed up because
Yes.
remember that things change, and of course, you know that before lecturers were having it as they wanted, but now
It has been managed.
is changing fast.
Exactly. I don't want to call this school, but in my school it was a team.
Mhm.
The school I graduated during my first degree, it was a team. But now, one of the VC came in and changed the whole thing. So it's been managed. So these are our last words to you generally. I hope you enjoyed the few minutes of our time on our talk. You can also comment, and of course, Workplace Reality Podcast is our view and your opinion. We want to know what you think. We want to know your reality. We want to know your opinion on this topic. Please comment anywhere you're seeing this video. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel because Workplace Gist like this will be dropping every weekend. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you won't miss any part of this. And to our host, Mr. Money, and I hope you heard the part. He's a financial consultant. So brands that are watching this, to business owners, if you need an auditor, in fact, any financial issues you are having, is a go-to for you. And of course, Ms. Gifts, who is our business development manager. If you want to expand your business, talk about sales and business development, workplace digitalization, please, Ms. Gift is the right person for you to talk to. Until we see you next time, by this time next week, have an amazing weekend.